In the early morning hours of June 7th, 1992, three women disappeared from a quiet residential neighborhood in Springfield, Missouri. There were no signs of forced entry, no confirmed struggle, no neighbors reporting screams in the night. Just an empty house, personal belongings left behind, and a silence that has lasted for decades. The case would come to be known as the Springfield Three, and even today, it remains one of the most baffling unsolved disappearances in modern American criminal history. Cheryl Levitt lived at the modest home on East Delmar Street with her daughter Susie Streeter. On the night before they vanished, Susie and her close friend Stacy McCall were celebrating their high school graduation. It was a milestone evening, filled with excitement, laughter, and the feeling that the future was finally beginning. After attending graduation events and visiting friends, the two young women eventually returned to Susie's house, where Cheryl was waiting. Nothing about that night appeared threatening. It was ordinary, familiar, and safe. Sometime between the early morning hours and later that day, all three women disappeared. When friends stopped by the house later that morning, they sensed something was wrong almost immediately. The front door was unlocked. The cars were still in the driveway. Inside, purses were neatly arranged. Keys were present. Clothing and personal items were undisturbed. Nothing suggested preparation for travel. Nothing suggested a planned departure. It looked as if the women had simply stepped away for a moment and never returned. One small but unsettling detail stood out. The glass globe covering the porch light had been shattered. Was it broken during a confrontation? Was it an accident unrelated to the disappearance? Or was it damaged as part of an intentional act to darken the front of the home? In a case with so few physical clues, even a broken light fixture became significant. Another troubling detail involved the answering machine. A message believed to be important was reportedly erased before investigators could analyze it. In many investigations, a single preserved recording can change everything. Here, a potential clue may have vanished before anyone understood its importance. The early hours after the disappearance also saw friends and family moving through the home, unintentionally disturbing what might later have been considered a crime scene. Their actions were not malicious. They were driven by confusion and hope. But those early disruptions may have cost investigators fragile pieces of evidence. There were no obvious signs of forced entry. That fact forces uncomfortable possibilities. If the women opened the door willingly, it suggests they either recognized the person outside or did not perceive an immediate threat. If the offender entered without force, it may indicate familiarity with the house or with the victims. Alternatively, the offender may have used deception, intimidation, or a weapon to gain compliance quickly and quietly. Controlling three individuals inside a residence is not simple. It requires planning, authority, or overwhelming fear. Some investigators believe one of the younger women may have been the intended target, and that the others became witnesses who could not be left behind. Others believe the crime may have been premeditated, with the offender aware that all three would be present that night. The involvement of an adult mother complicates the theory of a spontaneous act. It suggests either preparation or ruthless adaptability. The narrow timeline deepens the mystery. The disappearance appears to have occurred while the neighborhood slept, during hours when fewer witnesses would be alert. In many abduction cases, noise or chaos draws attention. Here, there was none publicly confirmed. That silence suggests speed and control. It suggests that whoever was responsible understood how to move without creating panic. Over the years, numerous theories have circulated. Some focus on acquaintances, others on strangers encountered during graduation festivities. There have been rumors of confessions, alleged burial locations, suspicious vehicles, and persons of interest. Yet rumor does not equal proof. High-profile cases often attract speculation that overwhelms verifiable facts. Law enforcement must separate emotional narratives from evidence, and in this case, the evidence has remained painfully limited. One of the most chilling aspects of the Springfield 3 case is the apparent absence of violence at the scene. There were no overturned tables, no visible bloodstains publicly disclosed, no clear signs of a fight. This has led some analysts to believe the offender relied on psychological dominance rather than physical chaos. When faced with a credible threat, victims may comply in hopes of survival. The illusion of control can prevent immediate resistance. In such moments, silence can be the weapon that allows an abduction to succeed. As time passed, The case reshaped how residents of Springfield viewed their community. The idea that 3 women could vanish from a home in a populated neighborhood shattered assumptions about safety. It introduced a fear rooted not in visible danger, but in unseen vulnerability. The house became more than a location. It became a symbol of unanswered questions. Modern forensic advancements have solved many cold cases across the country. DNA analysis, improved databases, and renewed investigative efforts have brought closure to families who waited decades. Yet in this case, no public breakthrough has emerged. That does not mean progress has not been made behind closed doors. Law enforcement sometimes withholds information to protect investigative integrity. There may be details known only to authorities and the person responsible. For the families, however, the passage of time carries a different burden. Without confirmed remains or definitive answers, grief remains suspended. Hope and despair coexist. Each anniversary marks another year without resolution. Each new tip raises expectations that may never be fulfilled. The Springfield 3 case stands as a reminder that some crimes unfold in near silence. No dramatic confrontation, no public spectacle, just the sudden absence of 3 lives. The unanswered questions echo louder than any confirmed detail. What happened during those early morning hours? Was it someone trusted? Someone who studied routines and chose the perfect moment? Or an encounter that escalated into something calculated and controlled? Until credible evidence emerges, these possibilities remain speculation. 3 women vanished. No confirmed sightings, no charges filed. Decades later, the mystery endures. The quiet street on East Delmar remains ordinary in appearance, yet permanently linked to one of the most enduring unsolved disappearances in American history. And the central question remains as haunting now as it was in 1992. How can 3 people disappear from a single home without leaving behind the evidence that would tell their story?